Hello and welcome to Marvin Gardens, September 2013. And this is another September in the garden where after which life will not really ever be the same. 12 years ago it was 9/11. This year it's much more personal than that. But I know she would want Marvin Gardens to go on. And so we are going to go on, and we're going to start with chives, and Frankie's helping us show the way. He's got his, Frankie, come here, Frankie. Well, he's too busy. He has got a fall scarfie on, but anyway, chives are looking fine, as usual. And over in bed one, we've got our weird cabbages, which are very small. They are heading. Eventually I'll pull those, but they're so small, kind of weird. And then we've got broccoli, and these broccoli have just stuck around for the entire season, which is kind of surprising. Now you can see some of this stuff I did not harvest in time, but some of it, like this one right there, that's a fine little broccoli head, and we're into September, so that's pretty weird. Meanwhile, we got Brussels sprouts happening here. These are the main Brussels sprout planting, and they're yielding. We've been pulling some. They've also been attacked by caterpillars. They're just relentless. But I've sprayed again, and hopefully going to keep them at bay. But you can see some nice Brussels sprouts hanging out there, ready to be picked. And here's our little water feature, including marigolds that I just, they broke off. I just stuck them in the water there. They seem to be doing just fine. The pups are sniffing around here. Jessie! Oh my goodness. Well, I was going to show you Jessie's scarfie that she has on. Come here, Jessie. Here we go. Anyway, one of their fall scarfies, and fall, by the way, started less than an hour ago, and it is brisk and fall-like in the garden, but it's very nice. Okay, continuing on to the ground cherries, and Jessie liked ground cherries. You want the one? Want one? There you go. Got it? Go ahead. Whoops. Dropped it. Here it is. Hold on. There you go. Good girl. And Frankie comes over and just helps himself to these things. And we've got lots of them. When they turn this yellow color, that's when they're the best. And the pups know it, and they come get them. And I come get them too. Oops. You want that one, Jessie? All right. Nice. A nice garden treat, huh? All right, where are we? We got some. These eggplants have been sort of underwhelming as far as output goes, but you can see there's a couple of little ones there, and they seem to be coming in okay. And in the beans department, I think these are mostly, well, it looks like there's some lima beans up in here, actually. That's a lima bean right there. So they're the two that are doing the best, which are lima beans and rattlesnake beans, seem to be climbing all over the two that are total losers, which is the yard longs and the runner beans. Although now that I'm looking at it, there's a couple of good-sized runner beans right there, so they're doing okay at least. But these rattlesnakes, they're really the ones that have been producing well all season long. They're all over the place. I'm actually overdue to do some harvesting out here. Things have sort of gotten neglected. So they're coming in pretty well. And there's a couple of nice ones there in the sunlight. Meanwhile, over here, next is the sweet potatoes. Now remember, the sweet potatoes were planted very late because they were just late in coming up. I don't think I'm going to really get much of anything in there, but we'll let them go to, around the first frost and see if there's anything underneath. Meanwhile, these okra, which are not with the main crop of okra, are the only ones that are actually still producing. Well, I guess this plant itself is the only one that's producing, because this plant ain't doing nothing. And then the glory that was corn is now an empty bed. We had a great Silver Queen corn harvest. In fact, our entire eating corn harvest was pretty good. Can't complain. But the stalks are cut down and bundled for fall decor, and it's all over now. Meanwhile, here's my little volunteer sunflower patch. Just a clump of them came up. I separated them out into a row, and they all did quite well. So it's a nice little colorful bonus. This is a row of carrots here that's been totally neglected, kind of overgrown. I mean, I could probably pull a carrot, but there's just they really didn't do that hot this season. And then this is our row of marigolds to round out this bed. Now, moving on to bed number 3, we've got all kinds of marigolds, and I think I pointed out last time that we think we might have some peanuts under here, although I can't find any shoots right now. But it looks like we have some shoots going down into the ground, which is what the peanuts are supposed to do, and the plants continue to look healthy. So we're just going to keep our fingers crossed and hope that some of those shoots very sure I've got something neat under there. Some of these shoots, like this one here, that are going down into the ground, might yield some peanuts, but we'll see. Meanwhile, this was the last 2 rows of potatoes, and those finally got dug up, and I had some excellent help in digging the potatoes, even though the harvest was pretty meager. So take a look at this, with harvesting help provided by the Maine Down East gardening crew, my sister Cynthia and Steve Morris.
They're not red.
There's some.
Oh boy, it's getting exciting.
All right.
Find it, Frankie. Find it.
Good boy, Frankie. Get them worms.
You can put the little new potatoes in the shepherd's pie.
I could.
Oh, there it is. That might be the one I saw. Frankie. Frankie.
All right. Here we go.
Yay! Oh, this plant did really well. There's a little one there. Whoops! This is fun, huh?
So that was a fun project, even though, like I say, the harvest was pretty meager this year. And this is where the first harvest of potatoes was, and this has become most of the fall garden. And you can probably see here that my broccoli and kohlrabi, I've had a hard time keeping the caterpillars off this stuff. I just sprayed again today, so hopefully they'll recover, although it's getting kind of late in the season. But this row of beets looks really healthy. I'm in high hopes that we're going to get some nice beets, because the first harvest of beets, well, the first crop of beets this year yielded nothing because I mistakenly interplanted them with carrots, if you recall. The rest of the fall garden is right here. I've got some transplanted lettuce that's doing very nicely. These are all radishes that I just thinned out, and it looks like I'm going to get a few fall radishes. And then this is planted from seed lettuce that I just thinned. It's doing pretty well as well. And these are scallions, and they're coming in okay too. So not so bad for our humble fall garden. Meanwhile, this is the broccoli that was planted in with the kohlrabi, and it's doing much better than the broccoli in the other bed. I've been harvesting regularly. You might see all the vacancies down here where I picked them, and then you can see all these new ones that are harvestable, and then ones that are coming in that will be harvestable. This broccoli plant is just doing very nicely. That brings us to peppers, and see if can you see all these peppers? These are long Thai, and these are turning out to be kind of neat peppers, because when they're green, they're sweet. When they're red, they're hot. And but these plants are just going crazy. I mean, they're way more than I've been able to even keep up with harvesting wise. Another thing you'll notice about this bed is that the marigolds are just going crazy, and they're kind of overrunning the place. I should probably get a smaller variety of marigolds to plant in here. These are Melrose, and they turn that nice fiery red, but they stay sweet. And I've actually got some on the back deck as well that are doing pretty well. And then our sort of large bell pepper is California Wonder, and these guys have been really nice producers as well. Nice big fat thick walled peppers, as they say, and been doing pretty well. Tomatoes, meanwhile, are really slowing down, and they've also been kind of neglected. Look, Frankie just took a huge piece to work on. Atta boy. That's a good one for you, boy. You can eat that whole thing, right? You help yourself. That's a good one for you. You can see that there's, the ones on the ground here and stuff that I just didn't quite get to, for obvious reasons. But we're really winding down in the tomato department. But here, I'll show you what I did pick today. So those are going inside, and also I pulled the last kohlrabi, which is not the super 10 to 12 inch across size, but it's still a nice kohlrabi. And here's some of the corn stalks that I have set up in the official garden harvest throne, you might want to call that, and a couple of the lesser Indian corns. Those ones aren't worth keeping, so I just let them stay out here. They'll probably end up being rodent food, I would imagine. So that brings us on to bed 5. Oh, look, Frankie's really doing a number on this tomato. I'm glad he likes tomatoes, because he's been enjoying them all season long. He likes the big ones, he likes the little ones, and he eats them right up. The only thing that's left in the summer squash area are these little scallop squash. I don't even know if those guys will mature, but we left them going. This is where the other sweet eating corn was. Didn't do quite as well as Silver Queen, but we got quite a few eating ears. We got at least 100 ears altogether consumed. This is where we had sunflowers. They are gone with the last windstorm, And then, of course, the rest of this bed was all just transplanted volunteer marigolds. And it's nice to have something that's still growing vigorous and colorful in this last bed. And we won't go out to the Indian corn and the popcorn, but I did also have the same excellent help last weekend in harvesting some of the, or almost all of the popcorn and Indian corn. So take a look at this. But you did such a good job at the potato digging without spearing anything.
So,
We don't want to ruin a good Marvin Gardens movie,
do you have a makeup?
Yes, you've already seen them. They did a great job. You look great.
They did? Okay.
So we don't have to worry about getting every last one of these little...
No.
You know what I feel like we should have? We should have like one of those little baskets that you put around your thing and you drop them in
Yeah.
as you pick.
I think rather than,
I
think you take them in there.
There you are. A couple more. They're coming.
Perfect. There we go.
And it's dulled because the sun is under a cloud.
Actually, the cloudy probably brings out the colors better than the sunshine.
Does it?
Smoother lighting.
Fabulous. Good job, crew.
Excellent garden help. Thank you very much. And I don't know if you could tell it from that last shot, but those were lawn and leaf bags were just full of popcorn and Indian corn. It was a very good harvest, and kind of. Oh, let me get zoomed out here. Kind of unique this year was the way that I'm drying them. And I think I have a couple of intercuts here to show you. But last year I took some of the Indian corn and dried it in, the outdoor mini greenhouse here, and the rodents got to it immediately. So I took them inside, and the popcorn I hung in the garage, and the rodents got to that too, even though it was hanging up in mesh bags. So this year, we filled a wheelbarrow full of the Indian corn, and I've got a shot of that here. And then I just wheeled it into the lower level of the house, and so far it's drying nicely, and no rodents are getting to it. And then I did a similar thing with the popcorn. Instead of hanging it up in the garage or leaving it outside to dry, I put it in a shower stall downstairs, and sort of blocked off the shower stall with some tape and some packing tape, including some with the adhesive faced outward to sort of discourage any rodents from coming in. And so far that's working as well. The air's circulating around, and they should dry out nicely there as long as they're not hit by rodents. So that's all pretty good. But other than that, fall is just about an hour and a half old. It's a breezy, if not lovely fall day, all things considered. Oh, and let me show you this one thing. You may wonder, why is this one corn stalk tied to the corner of this bed in such a manner? And what that is that's the tallest corn stalk I've ever grown, I believe. It's an Indian corn stalk from out in the far bed, and I noticed it towering above the others, and I couldn't wait till the season was over so I could cut it down and measure it. And I was guessing that it was about 15 feet, but it's actually only 13 feet, but it's still the longest, or the tallest corn stalk that I've ever grown. So it's significant that way. Anyway, that's why it has such an honored place in the garden. But that's going to do it for us. Marvin Gardens, September 2013. And it definitely feels like fall, and the garden is totally winding down, but all things considered, we're doing okay, and we'll see you next month in October. Bye, y'all. Hi, Juju.